In this video, I'm going to cover the LFE channel in Atmos, particularly when mixing for music. In the first part, I'll talk about some of the technical aspects like routing, and in the second part, I'll cover some of the best practices for LFE. Now, I happen to be using Nuendo, but the principles I'm talking about would apply in any DAW. One of the first things I discovered in Nuendo is that this knob on the multi-panner labeled LFE doesn't work in Atmos. That is to say, it doesn't send the signal to the Atmos renderer, even if you're hearing it in the mix. The right way to do this is the same for all DAWs. You create an auxiliary send channel for LFE. Let's assume that your project already has an Atmos mix channel that has the renderer plug-in as an insert, and that you've configured the renderer in the authoring tool. Next, we'll need to add a bed that includes the LFE channel to the Atmos project. We can use any channel configuration with LFE. I like to start with a 7.1.2 bed because it has other uses besides LFE. So we'll start by making a group. Click Studio, then Audio Connections, then the Group FX tab, and then Add Group. We'll set the configuration to 7.1.2, set the output to the Atmos mix, and name it 7.1.2 bed. Now this is an important part. We need access to the child buses. So we right-click our bed group, select Add Child Bus to 7.1.2 bed, then add all child buses to 7.1.2 bed. And now we can see all the child buses of the 7.1.2 group automatically named, including LFE. Then in the authoring tool, add a bed and select the 7.1.2 group we just created. Make sure that the object IDs are assigned to it. Now we have a bed in Atmos and the ability to access the LFE channel. So next we create the auxiliary channel for LFE. We'll make a new group, make it mono, then set the output to our 7.1.2 bus, which is listed under groups, but not the whole channel, just the LFE child bus. And we name this channel LFE, and we create the group. Here's a project where I've created the LFE channel. Let's go to the bass guitar channel. We'll add a send to the LFE channel and enable the send. Now in the renderer we can see that the LFE channel in the bed is active, and we see activity on the LFE meter. So that's the basic routing. Now there are two more things we want to consider on the LFE channel for best practice. I got these tips from Steve Genewick, who is one of the earliest people to mix music in Atmos and probably one of the most prolific. He's offering a course on mixing in Atmos through the Pro Mix Academy. It's not free, but I thought it was totally worth it. See the link in the description for details. Regarding LFE, Steve advises us not to trust that all consumer playback systems will do the right thing. He strongly recommends that we add both a limiter and an EQ to the LFE channel. Looking at the inserts, first I've added the stock brick wall limiter. I've set the threshold to -1 dB. For the record, Steve Genewick uses the Waves Renaissance compressor here, with the threshold at -1 dB and the ratio set at 10:1. Next on my insert chain, for EQ, I'm using the Cubase stock plugin Frequency. I've got a high-pass filter at 24 dB per octave, rolling off below 32 Hz, and a low-pass filter also at 24 dB per octave, rolling off above 120 Hz. Steve Genewick uses a FabFilter Pro Q3 for this purpose. However, he doesn't filter to eliminate the extreme lows, and he sets the low-pass frequency to 150 Hz, not 120. It probably doesn't make a whole lot of difference, but I checked with Dolby Labs on their forum, and they replied that the encoding process applies a low-pass filter at 120. For accuracy when mixing, I can't see a reason why the low-pass for the LFE should be set higher. So there you go. It turns out that some Atmos mix engineers believe that the low-pass filter on the LFE channel can create phase problems. To be honest, this is a little beyond my expertise, but it's worth mentioning. Their point is that EQs adjust frequency by playing with phase. The more gain is reduced, the more the signal is out of phase, to the point where at a 24 dB reduction in signal, the signal is 180 degrees or completely out of phase. Now that's not normally a problem when we're mixing and we're using an EQ, because we're not mixing the original signal and the EQ'd signal. In this case, we're sending the filtered LFE to the subwoofer, and we're sending the original signal to the main speakers, but they're going to be out of phase, and that could cause problems. The author of this article demonstrates that if you feed a 120 Hz sine wave into the center channel and the LFE, where the LFE is EQ'd, and sum them to mono, the signal drops by 3 dB due to the cancellation at 120 Hz. Personally, I don't think we'd notice that because the inverted signal is 24 dB less than the other one, and because in real life, bass parts are not just a 120 Hz tone, and we can avoid the issue by using a linear phase filter. To test it, I added a bass guitar track as an object and panned it to the center channel. I also added a send to the LFE bus. I have the original bass on the center channel and the high-passed bass on the LFE channel. Both channels are coming out on the Atmos Mix channel. Then I added 2 sends from the Atmos Mix channel, each to a different 7.1 channel, where I solo the center channel on one and I solo the LFE channel on the other. These signals get routed to 2 mono channels, the C group and the LFE group. I'm summing them together to see if I can hear any phase issues. If I solo the LFE, I hear only the LFE. If I solo both, it sounds like this. If I do an A/B test where I mute the LFE channel, the only difference that I hear when the LFE is added is more low end, which is what I would expect. In any case, the people who are concerned about this issue have a solution they're recommending. A plugin from Avid called Pro Subharmonic generates subharmonics which reduce correlation between the LFE and the main channels and therefore reduces potential phase cancellation. However, the plugin costs several $100s and doesn't support VST. I happen to own a similar plugin, Waves Low Air, so I added it as a third plugin on the LFE insert chain. Comparing the output of the center channel on top with the LFE channel, the plugin clearly decorrelates the processed signal and also adds subharmonics, which may be desirable depending on the type of music you're mixing. It's up to you whether you like it or not. I'll probably just stick to the limiter and the EQ. Now, apart from those tips, there really isn't a lot of best practice advice out there. I think one reason is that, as with Atmos mixing in general, there really are no rules other than just make it sound good for the type of music you have. But I think there's another reason, which is that in the case of LFE, there's no guarantee that what we put on the LFE channel will actually make it all the way to the consumer's subwoofer. We can't even tell what professional Atmos mixers are sending to LFE by studying their mixes unless we have the master. These are 7.1.4 recordings from my receiver of 4 popular songs mixed in Atmos. It's obvious the subwoofer channel from the receiver is putting out a lot more than what was on the LFE channel. The frequencies go much higher than 120 Hz. I suppose it's a bit like object-based mixing. We mixers do the best we can, but it's up to the renderer to make the best mix for the speakers that the consumer has. As for best practices, here are the basics. It's defined as a band-limited channel specifically intended for deep, low-pitched sounds. Dolby explains in this document that LFE does not equal subwoofer. A program can have an LFE signal, but the receiver might fold it into the main speakers instead. Or the opposite. A program could have no LFE, but a receiver might use bass management to send the low-frequency component from the main speakers into the subwoofer. Again, according to Dolby, the LFE channel is discarded when Dolby Atmos content is played back in stereo. To ensure low-frequency content will be heard in stereo, it's best to leave it in other bed channels or in object audio. From what I can tell from watching a lot of videos, most Atmos mix engineers, they use the LFE really sparingly and only on bassy things like kick and bass guitar. They all stress that the mix has to hold up, even if the LFE channel never makes it to the consumer's ear. As Steve Genewick says, if you mute the LFE channel, the bass shouldn't go away. For film and media composing, where a mix engineer has to mix not only the music, but the dialogue and the sound effects channels, the composers and the music mixers are advised to keep anything out of the LFE. Stay out of the LFE. To wrap it all up, I have come to think of the LFE channel for Atmos music as not only just the icing on the cake, but like the decoration on the icing. It shouldn't contain any sonic information that you can't do without. It should just be there for some extra oomph. So use it sparingly, have fun, and I'll see you next time.